Hi, everybody. This is Josafath Reynoso. Welcome to this very special edition of Profiles. And I'm very lucky to be here with Dawn Chiang, who's lighting designer, project manager, a mentor, and a personal friend. And I'm very lucky to have you here. I know we talk all the time, but thank you for agreeing to do this in front of a camera. Before we jump right into the questions, I want to just give a very quick overview of your work, right? Mm-hmm. So Dawn is a remarkable lighting designer whose work has been seen everywhere in all different scales. On Broadway, you design Suit, and you design Tango Pasión, right? You co-designed 5 productions with Richard Pilbrow for the City Center Encore series. You were the associate designer for Showboat, The Life, and La Cage aux Folles.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yes.
Good. There you go. You were the resident designer for New York City Opera. How many years was that?
2 seasons.
2 seasons. Okay. And you oversaw up to 20 productions?
20 productions in rotating repertoire over a 6-month season.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot. It is.
Your work has been seen on Broadway, off Broadway, on regional theaters, right? Such as OSF, Arena Stage, the Guthrie, and Trinity Rep, right? Among many others. We work together at APT. You just won this last year, the USITT Distinguished Achievement Award in Lighting Design and Technology, which, congratulations again. You have 2 Drama Law Critic Awards, right? You got the Lighting Designer of the Year by the Syracuse Area Live Theater and the prestigious Thea Award. Did I say that right?
Yes.
There you go. Great. You were also nominated for the Mom Design Award, the Los Angeles Drama Critic Award, and the San Francisco Bay Area Award. Beyond theater, you were also a project manager for the House of Dancing Water in Macau, a spectacular performance of acrobatics and water, and it was a huge scale production. You're going to tell us a little bit in a second. Outside of the theater, Dawn, and I can say this firsthand, I'm very proud to be able to say this firsthand, has been a long-time mentor. You've been a long-time supporter of young artists and disadvantaged artists. You work with the TDF Wendy Wasserstein Project, right? Yeah. And you also are part of the Behind the Scenes charity project, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me just a second, super quick, what is the Behind the Scenes project about?
Behind the Scenes is for people who work in production, basically anybody who's not an actor, behind the scenes, behind the camera for television, film, and theater. And we provide grants for somebody who has an injury or an illness. And also, we also provide mental health services or referrals to mental health specialists as needed, and training to help people deal with bullying, harassment, and so on and so forth.
How long have you been part of the Behind the Scenes?
Oh gosh, probably 5-6 years.
Okay.
I'm on the board of directors.
What about the Wendy Wasserstein Project?
The Wendy Wasserstein Project is a theater development fund that runs the half-price ticket booth in Duffy Square in the middle of the Broadway Theater District. Has a flagship program where they have 27, 28 New York City high schools. I take 8 students from one specific school to 6 Broadway shows or off-Broadway shows each season. TDF pays for those, and we see the show, and then we go to a rehearsal room or a conference room of an industry-related business and have a 90-minute conversation over pizza about the show that we saw. And then they also have to write a journal entry about the whole experience. So the whole notion of seeing a show, but then taking the time to interact with each other and also with somebody like me from the industry, and we talk about the show, and their teacher's there, and a coordinator from TDF is there as well. And it's all the conversation that really helps deepen the connection to what we just saw. We just saw Buena Vista Social Club, which they absolutely loved.
They were telling me about that.
Yeah. So it's really fantastic. And so I've seen it open up students to what the arts can be, what their participation can be, whether as an artist or as an audience member, but what goes into making it and why does it connect with us? Why are some shows more meaningful to them? to each individual than others. And so we talked about the art and the craft and just the whole medium of theater and the performing arts.
For most of the students, you would say that this is their first approach to theater? This is the very first encounter they have with a theater production?
It depends.
Okay.
For some of them, yes. Others have a music background. I have one student right now who has a dance background.
Oh.
So, and they're all taking a theater-related course right now in their high school.
Okay.
So they have some exposure, and they also have some homework that they're doing as well towards all this. So it's a competitive entry into this program. They have to write an essay about why they want to be in this program and why it would be meaningful for them.
Let me take us back to the beginning. Do you remember the very first time that you thought that lighting design was something that you wanted to do?
Probably in college. I had helped finish building some scenery for an opera, Don Giovanni.
You were a carpenter.
I was a scenic artist.
Okay.
Basically, working with someone who had done scenic art as a student. Now he was an adult, and he was doing art restoration at the museum next door to the theater. Highly skilled painter.
Sure.
So I was helping him paint a 2-story set that had been created by a New York designer at my school out in Ohio. And that was a lot of fun. So I signed up to be on run crew for the opera, and I was standing off stage left during a tech rehearsal and looking out onto the stage, seeing the costumes, the lights, the scenery, the music. It's Mozart's Don Giovanni, which is an incredible opera to begin with. And I went, wow, they're doing this all on purpose. I want to learn how to do this.
Right.
And that was the aha moment that has stuck with me ever since.
Cool. Do you remember any mentors from back in the day? The people that really like pushed you into, or there were like great sparks, right? That move you into going into theater or into design? I would
go all the way back to the influences that I had because I studied piano starting at the age of 6. And went all the way through college, including Oberlin Conservatory. So I would say my piano teachers, I had 2 different ones as I was growing up at different stages. Those individual people, women, who taught me piano, classical piano, were my first introduction into the arts.
Okay.
So it wasn't at school, it wasn't an after-school program, it's somebody who teaches music out of their home. So that was one. And then also I studied ballet for 8 years up through high school. And again, that woman who taught ballet class in the basement of a union hall, someplace in my town, was another person who introduced me to the performing arts. So I learned a lot about the arts, phrasing, composition, having an idea and being able to express it, whether it was musically or physically in dance. So those were my first initial influences. And then I am going to have to say that the technical background that I have, because my father was an engineer in Silicon Valley and helped invent color television back in the day. Knowing about systems design and things technical were just a normal part of everyday dinner conversation.
Okay.
So, that there was that other side of my background.
Sure.
And so I knew I didn't want to be a performer. That was not my sort of nature, but I loved the arts. So I went to a college Oberlin College that had a conservatory, and I auditioned into the conservatory and was studying music there, but enrolled as a liberal arts major. Didn't want to be a performance major. And I didn't want to be in the sciences, math, science, any of that seemed too dry. So when I had that moment backstage and realizing you had to figure out how to build a set that would stand up, and you had to make all these other things come together. It was an intersection.
They had all the things
of everything that I loved all together in one place. So that was that. And then I've had a number of mentors along the way within theater. H.R. Poindexter, who was a set and lighting designer and a technical director at Los Angeles Music Center. I worked for him straight out of college, assisting him in scenery and also lights. And he was definitely a mentor on all kinds of things, nuts and bolts. Anywhere he went, he expected me to be there to learn also. He also worked in television as an associate producer, so I started learning about that. It was great. Theron Musser, who designed A Chorus Line and many other shows on Broadway.
The original chorus line.
The original chorus line, that was Theron, and she was another one of my mentors. So when I did my first Broadway show, Zoot Suit, Theron would come by like every other day and take me out to dinner and just coach me through the politics and the mechanics of working on a Broadway show. Not trying to tell me how to light it, but all the other things that surround a Broadway production.
Sure.
So that's incredible mentorship.
Yeah, I'll say. Because again, that is the one thing that they don't teach you at school, right? Like
No.
you can learn how to do a plot, but how to navigate the politics of theater, it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, just all the interactions. Yeah, politics may be too strong word, but all the interactions that you have, and every kind of institution or organization you come into has a way of doing things, and Broadway has its own particular way of doing things. New York City Opera, where I worked, has a particular way that they do things. So learning the ins and outs of all of that is incredibly helpful. And then I worked with Jennifer Tipton, who does incredible lighting in ballet and opera and theater as well, and I was her assistant designer.
And now she's lighting this like huge architectural features. I mean, she's doing like crazy big projects.
Is she?
Yeah. She lit this bridge.
I didn't know.
I don't remember when that was. I saw Jennifer probably 7 years ago. We had a conversation, and they had just finished. I'd be lying if I'm gonna
A bridge.
Look it up. Yeah, but it was a bridge. It was like a big architectural feature, and they hired her to do the lighting for it. Yeah.
So she was amazing to learn. She would light, because at the Joffrey you would have 3 passes at a ballet, and it opened that night.
Sure.
That was it. And this was in the days of before computer consoles. My job was to do track sheets and record manually every level of every dimmer, and then between every run of the rehearsal, go backstage and reconcile the cue sheets that the board ops were doing, because they were being, it was a 10-scene preset.
So you would do sliders and then go A-B?
No, this was 10 scenes, so it was like from ceiling to floor. But they ran it, but they had whatever my cue sheet said prevailed. So if there were some inaccuracies or missing levels, we would use my information. So anyway, I had all the information, and I discovered over a season that Jennifer would get 90% of the intensities correct on the first pass. And the second 2 passes were just finessing that. Wow. And she was lighting them in real time. The ballet does not stop for you to light it, and she was doing it in real time. I was going, oh my God, this is actually possible. I want to do that. And so I just kind of set my mind to it. And after a couple years, I was able to do that.
Would you say that taught you to work really fast? Like I worked with you before, and I know that you're like insanely fast.
Yeah, I mean, it was seeing Jennifer do that was kind of like seeing somebody run the first 4-minute mile.
Sure.
You can do this is possible.
Correct.
And it wasn't so much about speed, although that's part of it. It was the preparation and thinking about the piece ahead of time is what the key is. So even though I'm not mapping out exactly what I'm going to do, I know what the impulses are for scene 1 or scene 2 or the transition into scene 3. I may not know what channels or levels that we're doing, but I kind of know what direction we're going to try.
Sure.
And because I'm not going to be able to fully create that moment until I see the light hit the stage, hit the actors in costumes. I can try and get a first pass with it, sometimes without actors on stage or them in street clothes, but it happens completely in the instant that you start turning lights on the stage.
Cool. Well, lighting can be it can transform the scene. Like I've seen it, like just change the mood completely on a scene, on a set, on a play, right? That the one big reveal can just be a light dimming, or it can be a light changing color. Do you remember a story from one of your productions where the light really kind of like transformed the narrative?
Well, let me just start by saying that lighting can be editorial. It can comment on what's going on in the scene. It can support, it can enhance, it can play against the text or what have you. So it has all those capabilities, which are really wonderful. And one of the things I love sometimes is when we're teching a show and then we take a break and we go to work light. And going from the cue into work light is such a change. Like it goes to the usually very drab, very awful type of lighting.
Sure.
And they go, that's great.
Right.
Been making some magic. That's a good thing.
Sure.
That transformed a scene. What comes to mind was one time I was lighting production at a university where I was guest teaching. And it was a production of The Hostage. And the opening of Act 2, the director had one actor sit on a stool in the middle of the set, which is a bar, I think, and sing "Oh Danny Boy" in a very kind of melancholy and plaintive way, as a way to set the mood for the scene that was about to unfold. It's not in the script, but he added it to the performance.
Sure.
And I lit it the way the actor was singing it, which I didn't realize because my class had come to see tech rehearsal. And then when tech was done, they asked me, why did you light that song like that? I was just responding to the energy of the performer and the performance. It wasn't necessarily planned, but I'm a partner. Lighting is a partner, a scene partner to whatever's going on stage. I wanted to match the energy and support the energy of that performance, which was sad and melancholy. And then we were going to open, on a stool in the middle of this large sort of 2-story set. And then we were going to open up to the scene.
To reveal the full scene, yeah.
You could still see everything that was around, but it was about him. And it was interesting. I had never consciously made the connection that that's what I do. It's like we do in Maybe Tomorrow. There's towards the end of the play, we're into a very dark, you could almost say nighttime, very sort of contemplative moment where the two characters are on the set. He's playing the guitar, she's asleep, sitting up, and all this sort of stuff. And then she has a moment about, oh my God, let's do this meeting that you've been trying to get me to do. And he gets up and runs off and comes back with her business suit and is getting things all ready. So we've gone from a dark, sort of contemplative, moody feel to, as the moment he opens the door back into the set, the light starts to just slowly grow and open and all of that to match the energy of what's going on.
Sure.
That's an example of how that goes from something as dramatically, intentionally almost underlit to something that opens up.
Sure. I come to think about it, I've seen that scene a number of times now in tech. And I never clocked it that is what is happening, but it's true. I mean, by the time he comes back, we're back in reality. The space has kind of like, the fog has dissipated and the shapes have emerged, Walt Whitman would say. Cool.
So not only is the idea from one look to the next look, but the timing of that needs to match the energy and the pacing of the two actors.
Sure.
I just had a show that moved from one theater to another theater, and so they had been running for 3 weeks until I rejoined them in the second city, and their timing had shifted. Things had gotten faster, tighter, and all that, and so I could numerically tell you where the pacing had shifted and changed, so that in order for me to match them, I had to adjust timings because it was a fast-paced show in a lot of places to match that. And it was interesting. Oh, look, I'm taking a second off of that, a second and a half off of that, and just you could physically see it on the screen.
Turn it into data, right?
Yeah, it was interesting.
It happens to me, but then again, I am like the Argentinians say, an easy tear. Do you remember a time where your own work has moved you, where like, oh, that like really hits me. Like I can't believe that I created that because it is actually affecting me.
Yeah, there've been some gorgeous moments. I remember one production of Wit. Was it Wit? Yeah. Anyway, it might not have been Wit, but there was a play where the main character is within a tower of sheer fabric that's maybe 8 foot square and maybe 18 feet tall. So I light her from inside that square, that tube, and you can see her through the shears and all that. And at the moment that, and then there's a kabuki drop where the shears release, and I shift to a light that catches it as it flutters down, and it's unexpected. I just remember in tech, somebody else in tech gasped, started crying. Yeah, because it's that kind of poignant moment in terms of what it is in the text, but just that unexpected sort of magical thing that happened, and it's like, wow.
It's fascinating that it's impossible not to react to something as mundane or something that we take for granted as the light, right? And when the light shifts, you cannot help but to feel.
Well, that's what we do in rock and roll.
Right, sure.
That's the whole point.
Exactly. So let's do one more. When you are lighting, do you think about the audience? Do you think about the way you want the audience to receive a lighting design? Or are you more focused on, how you are talking to the action or talking to the actor or talking to the director's vision?
I'm focused entirely on the text, the music, the dance, the movement, the performers. And whatever we're creating together is going to be the collective effect on the audience. And I trust in that process. I'm not trying to second guess what the audience is going to like, not like, and so on and so forth.
Sure.
So I'm exploring that with my creative collective, which is the directors and the other designers and the performers. So that's where I center and anchor my work. And yeah, that's knowing the audience. Are you doing children's theater? Are you doing a rock and roll or a pop event? Or are you doing a theater piece? David Byrne spoke about, because he had a show on Broadway just a couple of years ago, which was really fantastic. And he said that he really enjoyed working on Broadway, but he said the audience expects more of a story and wants the storytelling thread in his piece, as opposed to a concert. Everybody's coming with a different expectation. They're coming to hear the music and to have fun. And they're not so interested in necessarily a story. So in that sense, I'm aware of the audience, which kind of context or container are we putting it in? But I'm not designing for the audience. I'm designing to what is the piece that we're making together.
Cool. And now for the bonus round, what advice would you give to a young designer that is either starting in theater or considering lighting design or has just discovered lighting design? What are usually your because you do this all the time. So what are usually your words of wisdom? What do you advise people to do when they're in that stage of career?
See as much of the arts and the performing arts as you can to kind of get more of an awareness of what's going on. So it can be going to a museum, it can be going out and looking at, we're on a beautiful spring day here, going around and walking and seeing what the light looks like on everything. I was just listening to a podcast with Roger Deakins, a cinematographer, and he had a podcast a few years ago about lighting, and he talked about when he was growing up, he would go fishing a lot. So he was spending hours out in nature and could see different times of day, different kinds of conditions on the water, and so on and so forth. And it taught him to absorb and look, and what was his response to each of those experiences that he was having. Sometimes, on the rare occasion that I do teach, I've given an assignment called Light Log, what I call Light Log, which is 4 to 5 times a week. Notice something that has to do with light that affects you somehow, emotionally, or interests you, or curious, or odd, or whatever, and write it down, write a few sentences about it or make a sketch of it. And it can be natural light, it can be artificial light, and try and capture what it was that caught your interest, your curiosity, your anger, your happiness, whatever about that. And we do this for the entire semester, so something like 13 weeks. And it starts to change the way you see.
Because you become conscious of...
Because you're taking the time to look at that sunset. One student wrote about the spill from the digital display on her microwave oven in the middle of the night in the kitchen. You start to take the time to notice. So if anything, I would recommend that type of light log
training.
It just takes a few minutes to do that, and do it like 4 or 5 times a week for 3 months.
Cool. Well, Dawn, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time again to chat with me today. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and hope you all enjoyed getting to know more of Dawn. And of course, we're going to leave her portfolio link down in the description. Thank you again, and thank you all. We'll see you in the next